Welcome to lecture 15 of International Finance. In this video, we are going to continue our discussion on the topic of international arbitrage. So moving toward the contents, we have already explored the idea of triangular arbitrage. What triangular arbitrage is, we have discussed in our previous classes. That it is a concept where an investor can earn riskless profit by involving different exchange rates, right? So we discussed that there is a cross exchange rate, and if the quoted cross exchange rate is different from the calculated cross exchange rate, we have an opportunity of triangular arbitrage. And we can exploit this opportunity. The investor can earn riskless profit by converting the amount into three different exchange rates. We have already discussed it, and we are going to we are just going to see how different examples of triangular arbitrage can be solved. So once we look at different examples, then we would see the idea of realignment in the exchange rate. What does realignment means? That once we know there is triangular arbitrage, the investor tries to exploit that triangular arbitrage opportunity. Then there is an equilibrium reached in the exchange rate in a way that the triangular arbitrage would no more exist for the future investors. So this is what we are going to discuss, and obviously we are going to discuss some more examples on triangular arbitrage. So let's start with an example. We have a value of British pound in terms of dollars, right? So we so in previous examples on triangular arbitrage that we discussed in previous classes, we saw that there was just one rate of triangular arbitrage. I mean, there was just one rate. There was no bid rate, or there was no ask exchange rate. Now we have already discussed what bid price is and what ask is. Bid is the buying price, right? The buying price of the bank or the exchange from to whom we are going to sell the currency. And the ask price is the selling price of the exchange. So now we have in this example, this is the real kind of a situation. You know, when you walk into the exchange or a bank to buy some currency, you would rather having one rate, you would have two rates. That would be ask rate and a bid rate. So in previous examples, for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of understanding triangular arbitrage, we just used one rate. There was no concept of bid or ask prices in our previous classes. But now we would try to introduce the real-time situations in our examples. And that real-time situation is that in real world, we have different bid price and we have different ask price. Remember, the exchange or the bank buys a currency at a lower price and sells it at a higher price. So we have the value of British pound in terms of dollars. One British pound is $1.60. The exchange would buy 1 pound for $1.60, and it would sell. Remember, ask price. It would sell the 1 pound at $1.61. So buys the pound at 1.6 and sells it at 1.61. So $0.01 is its profit. Similarly, we have exchange rate of Malaysian ringgits in terms of dollars. So 1 Malaysian ringgit is equal to $0.2. The bank would buy it at this price. The bank would buy Malaysian ringgit from us at this price. And the bank would sell to us the Malaysian ringgits at this price, right? They buy Malaysian ringgits at lower and sell it at higher price. Then we have the value of British pounds in terms of Malaysian ringgits. So 1 British pound is for 8.10. So the bank buys 1 pound from us at 8.10 and sells to us 1 pound at 8.20 Malaysian ringgit. Okay, so does triangular arbitrage exist or not? We are going to look at this idea that whether triangular arbitrage exists or not. If yes, if the triangular arbitrage exists, how many dollars will the investor earn by investing $10,000? And then we are going to discuss the realignment due to triangular arbitrage. Okay, so starting with the steps in triangular arbitrage, we already know there are 3 steps. The first step is whether triangular arbitrage exists or not, right? So if you remember from previous classes, we had this simple idea that if calculated cross exchange rate is not equal to quoted cross exchange rate, then there would be an opportunity of triangular arbitrage. Now we already have quoted cross exchange rate. The quoted cross exchange rate is the rate that is mentioned in the previous slide. But we need to calculate, obviously, calculated cross exchange rate. So then if the calculated is different from the quoted, the one we just calculate is different from the one that is prevailing in the market, then we would say that there is triangular arbitrage opportunity is prevailing in the market. So for the sake of avoiding going back to the previous slide, I have written the rates over here. Now we know that to calculate cross exchange rate, we can use either 2 currencies, 2 exchange rates to calculate the exchange rate of a third currency. So we can either use these 2 exchange rates to calculate this one, or we can use these 2 to calculate this exchange rate, right? Or we can use these 2 to calculate the exchange rate, calculated cross exchange rate of this specific currency. Whatever way you do it, the answer would always be similar. The path would always be similar. It won't affect the answer. So we would use these 2 exchange rates to calculate, to find out the calculated cross exchange rate of this currency. So this currency is written in this form, MYR divided by pound. So we need to write these exchange rate in a way that Malaysian ringgit is always in numerator and the pound is always in denominator. So let's take the first currency. It's $1.6 by pound. We want this pound to be in denominator, so we write it like this, 1.60 divided by. Now next currency, we want the Malaysian ringgit to be in numerator, so we would rather write the reciprocal of the exchange rate that is given here in the question. So now what would happen is that the dollar would be cut off, and we would have MYR by pounds, right? The currency that we want, the exchange rate that we want, we would have 1.60 by 0.20. Okay, this would give us the answer of MYR is equal to 8 by pounds. So that means that we calculated that the cross exchange rate is 8 Malaysian ringgit for 1 pound. Now remember, for future reference, that this is also called the intrinsic value. And what do we mean by intrinsic value? It is the true value. This value should prevail in the market, but rather in the market we have this 8.10. Now you would also have noticed that instead of using ask price, we have used the bid price series. It also doesn't matter whichever price series you use. You either use bid or ask for this first step to find out whether triangular arbitrage exists or not, and that would be perfectly fine. So we are done with the first step. The first step was whether the triangular arbitrage exists or not. And we have calculated cross exchange rate, and the calculated cross exchange rate is 8, and the quoted cross exchange rate is 8.1. So they obviously are different. So calculated is 8 and quoted is 8.1. So when they are different, we say that then triangular arbitrage exists. So in this example, triangular arbitrage do exist. Okay, so step 2 is to decide the path of the currency conversion. Remember, it is a triangular arbitrage, so the name comes from triangle. We have 3 different currencies. We have, in this case, Malaysian ringgit, the pound, and dollar. So we need to decide the path of currency conversion. So we either start with, we obviously start with dollars because we currently have dollars. In the question we have given that we currently have $1,000. So we start with dollars, but we have 2 options. Either we convert dollars into pounds or we convert dollars into Malaysian ringgit. So the first path can become that we convert the dollars into pounds, then the pounds into Malaysian ringgits, and the Malaysian ringgits into dollars. So this, let's call this path 1. So dollars into pounds, pounds into Malaysian ringgits, and then Malaysian ringgits back into dollars. Or what we can do is we again start with dollars, we convert into Malaysian ringgits, then Malaysian ringgits into pounds, and then pounds into dollars. So we complete our triangle, and hence we have our second path, which is start with dollars into Malaysian, then pounds, and then dollar again. Now the question is, which path should we choose? Either we choose path 1 or path 2. And only one path of these 2 would give us profit. The another path would always lead towards loss. Now there are 2 ways to choose between these 2 paths. One is the trial and hit method. That is, we calculate the profit loss of path 1, the profit loss of path 2, and see which path gives us profit, and then we use that specific path and apply it and do the currency conversions. But that obviously is a tedious task. So what we have done is we have came up with a formula. It says that when calculated cross exchange rate is less than quoted cross exchange rate, then we need to move from the denominator currency to the numerator currency. That is buy the denominator currency, right? For now, ignore this buy or sell part. Just focus on move from denominator to numerator. Okay, so which cross exchange rate are we talking about? Remember, we just calculated a cross exchange rate of Malaysian ringgit over pound, and we found that it's 8 MYR per pound. This was our calculated cross exchange rate, and we just said if calculated is less than quoted, and what is quoted in this case, it's 8.1, right, per pound MYR. So now we know that in our case calculated is less than quoted. What it says is move from denominator currency to numerator currency. So which one is the denominator currency? In this case it's pound, and which one is the numerator currency? In this one is Malaysian ringgit. So what it says is, we obviously know we start with dollars, we convert it into some currency, then that currency into some another currency, and then we convert that currency into dollars. What we do not know is what do we need to do here. So this formula makes it easy for us. It says calculated is less than quoted, so our conversion path would be denominator to numerator. So what is denominator currency? It's pound. And what is numerator currency? It's MYR. So this becomes our path. And remember, it resembles with the first path. So second step is to decide on the path of the currency conversion. So we have decided on the path. We start dollars, convert into pounds, then to Malaysian ringgits, and then back to dollars. And let's see whether it gives us profit or not. So the third step is to actually calculating the profit. So I have rewritten the question material over here for the sake of simplicity again. Now if you remember, we had $10,000. The question mentioned that we have $10,000. And what was our path? Dollars to pounds, pounds to MYR, and then again to dollars. So let's perform this first task. So we do dollars into pounds. So which exchange rate mentions both these currencies, dollar and pound? Obviously this one. But should we use bid price or should we use ask price? Now remember, this is the selling price of the pound and this is the buying price of pound by the bank. So what are we doing in this case? We are buying pounds, right? And at which price would bank sell pounds? Remember, this is the buying price of the pound by the bank. This is the selling price. So if we are buying, then the bank is selling. So bank would sell us pounds at this price. So if you take the reciprocal, right, this would become, and the dollar sign would be cut off, and we would have pounds 6211. The second step would be to convert these pounds into Malaysian ringgit. So we now have pounds and we need to convert into MYR. How many pounds do we have? 6211. Now which exchange rate contains both these currencies, MYR and the pound? It's this one, right? But should we use the ask price or should we use the bid price? Now in this case, we are selling pounds. So obviously the bank is going to buy the pounds. So we are going to use this exchange rate. It would become MYR 8.1 by pounds. So pounds would be cut off, and we would have MYR 5309. The last part is to convert these Malaysian ringgits into dollars. So MYR to dollars. So only this exchange rate have both these currencies. But which one should we use? We need to convert 50,309 Malaysian ringgits. So in this case, we are going to sell these Malaysian ringgits. So at which price would the bank buy? This is the buying price of the bank. So bank would buy at this price. So this would become $0.20 by MYR. So again, so we would have dollars 10061. Remember, we started with $10,000 and now we have 10,061. So this 61 is our profit. So in these types of questions, as opposed to the simple questions of triangular arbitrage that we previously discussed in class, we have bid and ask price, and the change that it would incur is in the calculation of the calculated cross exchange rate. So we either use this series to calculate the cross exchange rate or this series. And then the second complication comes in when we are actually converting the currencies. We have to see whether we need to use the bid price or we need to use the ask price. Okay. So moving forward towards the realignment due to triangular arbitrage, what realignment means is that somehow the prices, this triangular arbitrage, these investors exploiting this triangular arbitrage, earning profit from this triangular arbitrage, would create some kind of changes in the exchange rates in a way that the triangular arbitrage would no more be feasible for the future investors. So first, if we go back, what are people doing? They are selling dollars and buying the pounds. So if people are selling dollars, so that would increase its ask price of pound with respect to dollars. Obviously, the demand of pound had increased. So when the demand of pound had increased, the bank's price of the pound, right, its exchange rate would also increase. Similarly, in next step, what investors are doing is converting pounds, selling the pounds into the Malaysian and then buying the Malaysian ringgit. That would incur a downward pressure on the Malaysian ringgit and upward pressure on, downward pressure on the pounds and upward pressure on the Malaysian ringgit. And similar would happen here. So what this realignment would do is that it would force the exchange rate into equilibrium. And what do we mean by equilibrium here? We mean that investors taking the advantage of triangular arbitrage would lead towards a situation where future investors would not take any advantage from the change in the prices. So in simple words, the triangular arbitrage would cease to exist for future investors. Okay, one last question. I am just going to discuss it over here and I would leave it for you people to solve. It is question number 32 on page 211 of your book, which is International Finance by Jeff Medora. In this specific question, we do not are explicitly given the ask or bid price. Rather, we are given the statements that we need to convert into bid and ask price. So what you need to do is you need to form two columns. One is for the bid price and the second is for the ask price, and we are just going to fill these columns. The first exchange rate is you can buy a euro for 14 pesos. Obviously, if we can buy the euro for 14 pesos, that means bank is selling the euro for 14 pesos. So the selling price of euro for the bank is 14 pesos. So that means the bank would sell euro for 14 pesos. So that becomes the bank's ask price. Remember, this is the selling price of the exchange or the bank, and this one is the buying price of the bank. So it says that you can buy, so that means the bank is going to sell the euro. So it is going to sell euro for 14 pesos, and the bank will pay you 13 pesos for a euro. That means if bank buys euro from you, then it would give you 13 pesos. So remember, now it makes sense. Bank buys low and sells high. Similarly, you can buy a dollar for 9 euros. So if I am going to buy a dollar for 9 euros, that means 0.9 euros. That means bank is going to sell me for 0.9 euros. So that means selling price euros per dollar. And the bank will pay you 0.8 euros for a dollar. So if bank is going to pay me then that means I'm selling the dollars and the bank is buying the dollars. So this would become the buying price of bank. And similarly, you can buy dollars for 10 pesos. So 10 pesos. And the bank will pay you 9 pesos for $1, right? So now we have converted these statements into the relative bid-ask prices. The rest is similar to the previous question that we just had. Imagine you have $10,000 and you are being asked, as in previous question, you are being asked whether triangular arbitrage exists or not. If it does exist, then what would be the profit? So what you need to do is, as I have mentioned in the previous example, go back, see the example and solve this question for yourself by following the 3 steps that we have just discussed.